All right, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. Today is June 4th, 2024. This is the Lake County Board of Supervisors, our regular meeting. We will start with a moment of silence. I just want to check with my board members. It looks like Supervisor Green has a moment of silence, and I have one as well.
Thank you. My late father, William, was born and raised in Greenfield, Iowa, which 2 weeks ago today was struck by an EF4 tornado. So a moment of silence for the 4 people who perished in that, and all the other people who have been killed or injured during the latest tornado outbreak in the Midwest.
Thank you for that. I just want to have a moment of silence. We had an unfortunate incident on Sunday morning in the city of Clear Lake between Lower Lake and Clear Lake on Highway 53. Martha Marie Martinez of Clear Lake was unfortunately struck by a vehicle. What's even more unfortunate is the vehicle fled the scene. It was a hit and run, and unfortunately she succumbed to her injuries and was found dead on the side of the road. And that leaves behind family, that leaves behind friends, and that leaves behind a community, again, reeling with accidents on our roads that takes people away from us. And just want to hold them in our hearts and our prayers and have a moment of silence.
Supervisor?
Oh, one more.
Just one more. There was an incident in the past couple weeks. A young lady was found in Rodman Slough. So wanted to, just give our best to that situation. Hopefully the family is connected with her and the department that found, the sheriff's department who found her, and hopefully they can have some sort of peace of mind, and the young lady can be brought back to her family for at least to rest her, so she can rest in peace.
Supervisor Green, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. Moving on, consideration of any extra items not posted on the agenda. Are there any extra items?
No, there are not.
Anything from board members? All right, well, we'll move on to item 5, approval of the consent agenda. I know that I will be pulling item 5.21 for further discussion. Are there any other items to be pulled from the consent agenda? Seeing none from board members, then I will open it up for public. Please come on up to the microphone and let us know which items you would like to pull from the consent agenda.
Um, 5.3.
You say a question, but is that the one you want to pull?
That's not the only one.
Okay, and which else?
And then there's another consent agenda item about doing away with all the records for
the sheriff?
Highway, for the Sheriff's Department and the Department of Water Resources. I don't know.
That's the pulling of the destroying of the records is only for the sheriff's office, not for any other department.
Is
that a different item that you wanted to pull as well?
Yes, there are. I just got here. 5.19.
Okay, that was already called out. We have that.
You already pulled that?
That's the sheriff one for the documents.
Okay, and then there's one about the same thing with the Department of Water Resources. Oh, on 5.21, Anne is a memorandum to sign a memorandum 5.21?
Yeah, 5.
Water resources, 5.21.
And we will
But
discuss that
that,
one as well.
has that been pulled also?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll get to those items after, when we have time to put it into our agenda. Thank you. Anyone else wish to pull an item? I see no hands up in Zoom. I'm going to bring it back to the board for action. And just a quick 5.3, 5.19, and 5.21, I believe, are the only items being pulled.
That's what I counted, so I move to approve the consent agenda as posted with the exception of items 5.3, 5.19, and 5.21.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We will move on to our public input item, 9:02 a.m. If you wish to speak to the Board of Supervisors on any items not on the agenda, please approach the podium, and you will have 3 minutes. Director Jones.
Yes, good morning. Elise Jones, Director of Lake County Behavioral Health Services. I just wanted to acknowledge that it's graduation season, and I wanted to highlight that we do have a staff member, Brianna Tina, who's graduating with her high school diploma. After a lot of hard work, Brianna is a peer support specialist, primarily working out of our Circle of Native Minds, but she rotates all of our centers, and I just want to congratulate her on her graduation from high school.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Hello, supervisors. Thank you for the time. My name is Lanier Harper, and I was dealing with a situation that arose because my debit card was had some unauthorized usage, and the institution wanted me to replace it. Well, to do that, I also have to update the working credit card with paying for the waste pickup. And so that's been a process for me. And yesterday was my pickup day, and they let me know that they would not pick it up. I paid it the night before, and it went through a process of they say 48 hours or so before it'll post. And I did call them and tell them I had done it, but it gets a little bit worse. I used the credit card I should have cut up and thrown away. But I'm still going to pay my bill. But they've updated their automated calling system, and they tell you leave a message and we'll call you back. The fact of the matter is I wasn't called back. And that's the point. Why it took so long for me to react to it. And I provided a document, and I thank you for your time, and I'll probably talk to someone that handles y'all's contracted services. It just seems unusual that they have no recourse to pick up your trash when you, well, I thought I had paid it, and it was going through the hopper. But they did let me know at the end of the day that that card had been closed, that the charge didn't go through. So it's not a lot of specifics, but just they have automated their call handling. And when I called the courthouse, a lady named Carolyn gave me some numbers to call, and no one else was available. And I called those, and it all went back to that automated calling system. So my wonderment is that the way you want it? Because water district's no different. I had to change it there, and that was easy peasy. And nobody was, they do a wonderful job over there. I think you all know it, or you would be hearing complaints. And so this new phone system they put in is new. And I'm just speaking up for anyone in the county that has trouble dealing with it, because they don't have an office here where you can walk in. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Sir, real quick, what district do you live in, if you don't mind my asking?
I'm in Kelseyville, the property
And because your time is up, just to let you know, maybe reaching out to Director Lars from Public Services. He does have the franchise agreement with the contracting of the waste haulers, or maybe reaching out to your district supervisor, Jessica Paiska, and seeing if maybe
Nice to meet you.
better understanding on it.
And I know, I've met Mo Simon, and I don't mind talking, but I sort of wanted to put it on the record today.
Thank you very much, sir. Is there any other public input today? Okay, I see none in the chamber and no hands in the Zoom room, so we will go ahead and move on to our 9:04 a.m. item, new and noteworthy at the library.
9.2.
Oh my gosh, I keep doing that. 6.2, 9:03 a.m., Pet of the Week. I keep doing that to you. I don't mean to do that. I'm so sorry.
We're so quiet today. We're not whining. Hi, I'm Officer Copus with the Lake County Animal Care Control. Today I have brought Piper. She is a 7-month-old Shepherd mix. She was dog tested with other dogs and did really, really well. She'd be great in any kind of active home. She's very active, very sweet, very loving. She loves to give kisses. And she does know some basic commands like sit and lay down. She's very curious too. I also wanted to say we did get 21 animals out of the shelter this weekend for the free adoption day, which was a very good success rate. It was the SPCA had covered all of the the fees for the adoptions that came through with the approved applications. If you'd like to see any of our adoptable animals or come by, visit, any questions or concerns, we're at 4949 Hellbrush Drive, and our phone number is 707-263-0278. And she's up for adoption. She's ready for a good home. She was adopted and returned because she's too sweet. I'm gonna play it that way. She's way too sweet. She just wants a good home. You ready? You got something to say too? I don't think I've ever heard her really bark either. You ready?
Well, thank you so much, Officer Copus.
Thank
and
you.
Great job over the weekend.
Yeah, it was really good.
So those are all local adoptions?
Yes,
Wow.
they're all local adoptions that I'm aware of. A lot of people came in. It was busy for the 4 hours that had it open.
It's amazing.
It is. I'm glad. Ready?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on now to our 6.3, 9:04 a.m., new and noteworthy at the library, and our librarian, Christopher Veach.
Hello, thank you so much. Let me share my selected book and we can get started. Oh, very, very small. So thank you for giving me a few minutes to talk about what's new and noteworthy at the library. This month, I wanted to highlight a kid's chapter book that I personally enjoyed, even though I'm an adult, supposedly. A Wolf Called Wander by Roseanne Perry. Roseanne Perry is the author of 8 novels for young readers, 2 of which have been New York Times bestsellers. She grew up in Oregon and currently lives in Portland, where she says she writes in a treehouse in her backyard. Her book, A Wolf Called Wander, is based on a true story of a male wolf known as OR7, who was born in northeastern Oregon and traveled all the way into Siskiyou County here in California before establishing a pack of his own. And despite being a kid's book, it does not shy away from the harsh reality of life in the wild. Kirkus Reviews writes, "Never imagining the world could be so big or that I could be so alone in it, the wolf protagonist names himself Wander as he traverses prairies, canyons, and deserts. Rife with details of the myriad scents, sounds, tastes, touches, and sights in Wander's primal existence, the immediacy of his intimate, first-person, present-tense narration proves deeply moving, especially his longing for companionship. A Wolf Called Wander is available in print, audiobook, and ebook, and is listed as for kids 8 to 12 years old. The print version has great illustrations from Monica Arminio. And you can request A Wolf Called Wander or other titles through our online library catalog, which has all the resources of Lake, Sonoma, and Mendocino County library systems. And requesting items is completely free to library patrons, and items are sent to your local branch for you to pick up. I'm also excited to announce that this week, Summer Reading with Your Library kicks off on Thursday, June 6th. We have adults, teens, kids, and even pre-K can sign up and online or at your local library location and enjoy reading more this summer. And by signing up, you earn points by reading library books. Once you reach 1,000 points, you'll have the honor of having your name placed in a brand new library book and be the first to check it out. For kids, every 40 points earns a sticker for their game card, and at 200 points, they get to pick a prize from the prize box. Teens and adults earn a raffle entry for every 200 points, with prizes including candy bouquets for teens, a basket filled with books for adults, local business gift cards, and Amazon Kindle tablets. All prizes have been graciously provided by the Friends of the Lake County Library. Today you have a proclamation for Pride Month on your agenda, and at the library we are celebrating with book displays at each of our library branches. So you can please stop in and check out all the titles we have on display, or if you can't make it to a library location, find us on Facebook or Instagram to find links to ebooks and audiobooks featured in our digital collection. And then I also wanted to mention that due to a mechanical issue, our bookmobile stops for today have been canceled. We are waiting to hear when the minor repair will be completed and the bookmobile will be able to continue operation. So please watch our social media for when that occurs. And you can find more information about our events and resources on our website at library.lakecountyca.gov, or come visit your local library branch in Lakeport, Clear Lake, Middletown, Upper Lake, or on the bookmobile. Thanks again for listening to what's new and noteworthy at the library.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that and the update on the mobile. Hopefully you'll get that back soon.
Yes, we hope so too. Thank you.
All right, let's move on to item 6.4, our 9:08 a.m. item, presentation of proclamation designating June 2024 as LGBTQIA+ Pride Month in Lake County. And I believe I have a few people in the audience that would want to come up and join me on the podium. Thank you so much for joining me. Proclamation designating June 2024 as LGBTQIA+ Pride Month in Lake County. Whereas the United States was founded on the principle that all men are created equal, and the fulfillment of this promise has expanded over the years to cover all people. Some of the most inspiring moments in our history have arisen from civil rights movements, bringing one group after another under the umbrella of our most revered and foundational principle of American society. And whereas in the movement toward equal rights for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual, LGBTQIA+, and people of all other gender identities and sexual orientations, a historic turning point occurred on June 28, 1969 in New York City with the onset of the Stonewall riots. During these riots, LGBTQIA+ citizens rose up and resisted police harassment that arose out of discriminatory criminal laws that have since been declared unconstitutional. In the 4 decades since, civil rights for LGBTQIA+ people have grown substantially, and LGBTQIA+ pride celebrations have taken place around the country every June to commemorate the beginning of the Stonewall riots. And whereas California has been a leader in advancing the civil rights of its LGBTQIA+ citizens with leaders such as Harvey Milk. While further progress is needed, it is important to recognize and celebrate the substantial gains that have been achieved. And whereas Lake County's local elected leaders such as Denise Rushing and Joey Louise, thank you so much for joining us today, not only represented their constituents, but also represented the LGBTQIA+ community within Lake County. The Board of Supervisors also recognizes the many staff members from line staff to department heads who are part of the LGBTQIA+ community and serve Lake County. And whereas, while LGBTQIA plus Americans remain marginalized and under attack through legislation in states across our country, the Lake County Board of Supervisors stands firm against intolerance, discrimination, and injustice, and is deeply committed to fostering communities where all people can live free and authentic lives. And whereas LGBTQIA plus residents in Lake County represent our families, our friends, our neighbors, our teachers, our employees, and our community leaders. Across all religions, races, and communities, there are LGBTQIA plus people helping our nation to become a more perfect union and reaching our ideals proclaimed in our Declaration of Independence that all people are created equal and therefore deserve to be embraced and treated as equals. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, the Board of Supervisors of the County of Lake does hereby designate June 2024 as LGBTQIA plus Pride Month in Lake County and calls upon its residents to eliminate prejudice everywhere it exists and celebrate the diversity of our communities, passed and adopted this 4th day of June, 2024.
Guess I need a mic, huh? I'll keep my remarks brief. I just want to say it's truly humbling to be included in a proclamation with the great Harvey Milk. Harvey understood that the single most important political act that anyone could take was to simply be themselves, to come out to their family, their friends, their neighbors, and their coworkers. He understood this was important because hatred is grounded in fear. And once people understood that they lived with people who were gay, they could no longer be afraid. So to take that act of coming out was a political act. To reveal one's true nature is a political act. And I'll say personally that when I ran for office, I was told that I needed to hide who I was in order to win. And I said, I'm not going to do that. So I'm pretty sure Lake County is smart enough to figure out whether they want to vote for me or not, based on my credentials. So anyway, that's all I have to say. And I want to thank my partner, Loretta, for being here and for standing by me as I served on the Board of Supervisors and also now. Thank you.
I'll try to keep my comments brief, but I probably won't be successful. In this room just a few decades ago, somebody on that dais said that we could not issue a proclamation about HIV/AIDS awareness because that disease only kills sexual deviants and drug addicts. From this dais in this room, times have changed, and this board has been the biggest ally board in the history of Lake County, all of you. EJ, you are an example of Native leadership. You're amazing. You taught me about the Pomo culture of two-spirited people and how they were always accepted for 10,000 years in this place. Jessica, you put the flag up. You honor our community. You're amazing. In your re-election, you wouldn't let hate rule the campaign. You're an amazing woman and a hard worker, and we're lucky that you represent us. Bruno, my political protege, I taught him everything he knows. And then he took my council seat. Stop taking jobs from LGBT people and you'll be the perfect advocate. Bruno, you lead with equality and passion and love, and I am so proud of you and what you've accomplished for this county. Moke, 400 generations your family has called this place home, and you were the first to serve here. And I have a lot of LGBT friends who have worked for your tribe, and they were treated with dignity and respect. And you are a good man, Moke. Thank you for serving. Michael Green, you activist, you. But as far as straight cisgendered older men go, they don't get better than Michael Green. He's a big advocate. Your leadership, thank you for filling in this seat when needed, and you are a great supporter of the LGBT community, and thank you so much. Denise, you heard her, she's amazing, but the first campaign I ever walked on was yours, and you showed me that you can be somebody out in Lake County, and you are a mentor, and I love you and I respect you, and I'm so glad to share this moment with you. There's some other LGBT leaders that need to be mentioned in this county. Forgive me if I slaughter names, but I'm good at that. Charles Jajordes and Scotty McNeil were the first openly gay business owners in Lake County. They had a bar that was LGBT friendly here in Lakeport in the early 80s. And they were faced with bigotry and harassment, but they endured. And Scotty was here, they were here most of their lives, being great members of this community. Mark Cogdill, who was the executive for Canocti Harbor at its peak, was a great LGBT leader and a great mentor of mine, and I had the honor of working under him. Pastor John Pavoni is the first out, open Methodist minister in Lake County at Lower Lake Methodist Church, and he is an amazing man, and he survived the AIDS plague and has worked for AIDS victims in our community for years. And also Rick Schlosinger, who was the Methodist minister over in Clear Lake Oaks. Carol Hutchinson, my least favorite county employee ever, but she led the county CAO's office as an out, proud lesbian, and she deserves to be mentioned here today. Carolyn Barilli, who is the first out museum curator in the county, and she reminded me that she's not the first LGBT person in that position, but the first ones out, because so many people served in fear and hid who they were, unlike Denise and unlike myself, but they were scared to come out and be themselves, but they served this county and this community with honor. Marvin Butler, one of the most amazing planning commissioners this county has ever had. Rest in peace, Marvin. A great man, a great LGBT community member who was out and proud. And Kevin Burke. Kevin Burke, the former police chief of Lakeport, may he rest in peace, who also took on the job as city manager when no one else would, and represented this community so well, and was just a saint, and was out before it was cool. And then Brad Rasmussen, that's going to join the board. He was under Kevin. He was kind of his protege, and he's made the Lakeport Police Department a safe place. You can go in the lobby. It says so. He's trained his people to represent the community, and I'm so glad he's going to be joining you all. He is a great ally, and I'm going to mention some other allies who are not just liberal. They're making our lives a pawn in the political game, and we are not. There are so many great conservative Republicans who are allies, like Rob Brown, my friend. We probably don't agree on 90% of the things, but 10% of the things we bonded and created a friendship, and he has been an ally, even though you wouldn't think he is. Brian Martin grabbed my butt once, and it wasn't like a Me Too moment. I didn't think it instigated that, but it was a friendly, not real sexual moment. But I knew then that Brian Martin, our Republican sheriff, was a good ally of our community, and he always treated me with dignity and respect. And Rob, I know you are too, our current sheriff, and it is so wonderful that you serve. Pastor Larry Fanning of First Baptist Church for 30 years in Clear Lake. He told me he would never preach bad about LGBT people because of his feminine qualities. He was bullied all through his life. And I always felt welcome and loved in his church. Thank you, Larry. Let's talk KPFZ. KPFZ, for almost 2 decades, our Lake County Community Radio, has had an LGBTQ issue show. And I have had the honor to co-host it for about 5 years now. It's an important voice for this community. Helena is helping us too, and her partner, Margot, are now taking on the flag of that incredible institution that represents our community. Thank you. Chloe Carl, the programming director for KPFC, is an out proud lesbian, and she is amazing. Harold Riley, my co-host, he is 90 years old. He got thrown in a paddy wagon because he had his arm around another man in LA and was persecuted for it. It's unbelievable, and he has withstood and been an advocate for this community for almost this half of a century. Ron Green, the late great Ron Green, he was the first one to give me a campaign contribution, and he was a friend of Harvey Milk. And that just made the world to me. And for me, I was elected in 2010. The people of Clear Lake decided that a gay man could represent them. In 2012, I was one of the first openly gay mayors in America. And the youngest in California at the time. I'm not young anymore. In 2014, Governor Brown appointed me to the Board of Equalization on the staff of Fiona Ma, and I got to represent the LGBT community, millions of LGBT Californians, as the LGBT liaison for that agency, and it was a great honor in my life. We got to pass legislation after the Valley Fire to protect people. We got to do these amazing things, and I've just had a great career in the wine business and hospitality here. This community has been so good to me, and I tell you these things not to self-aggrandize. I tell you these things not to have a queen self-centered moment. I tell you this because LGBTQ plus AI, we matter. We can make a difference. And our lives are worth something. Dustin and I, we've known each other for 25 years. We were scared to come out in high school. And hate drove us away for all that time, but we came back together, and it's amazing. Young people out there that are scared, they have the pill bottle or the gun. Suicide rates in our community are outrageous. If you're in that position, reach out to some of these people I've mentioned. They are your allies. They will love you for who you are. It's not about sexuality, it's about human dignity. And any of these people I've mentioned are your allies. If you're being abused at home, if you're suicidal, reach out. I reached out to one of my best friends, David Patterson, when I was 16 years old, and I came out to him, and he protected me. And my life had meaning because I thought about it too. I drove myself into alcoholism because of shame that was put into me. There's people to help. There's groups like RCS, Redwood Community Services. They are there for you. Go to them, talk to them, because your life matters. You can make a difference. Stick around. What you hear out there in this country, the divisiveness, it doesn't matter. It's all a blip on the screen of civil rights and justice. So thank you all for this today. Thank you for celebrating Pride with us, and may the Creator bless you all. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Cara Faye Ingram. I work for Redwood Community Services as the TAE Program Supervisor here in Lake County. And I just want to say that queer, gay, trans, two-spirit people, we are everywhere. We are working professionals. We are community members. We are your neighbors. We are in this room. And regardless of anyone's opinions on gender and sexual identity, we deserve to feel safe. And unfortunately, safety is not a guaranteed experience. A lot of us were scared, not out youth. And there are still a lot of scared, not out youth. And because of that, the Harbor on Main is proudly hosting our second Pride Prom this June 29th. It is a completely free event for youth ages 14 to 25. There's going to be a photo booth, face painting, tarot reading, just to name a few things. There are flyers right here. So please spread the word to youth and encourage them to come be in a space where them and their allies can just be, and they can be safe, and they can be around adults who understand them and experienced the same scaredness that they might currently be facing. So that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Any comments from the board before we take pictures?
I couldn't say it any better than Joey or Denise, so.
Thank you all for being here today. I agree. There's a lot said here and a lot of heart, a lot of feelings that really matter. I really appreciate you all stepping up outside of your comfort zone because that's where the change is really made. So thank you for that.
See Marco.
Did you want to go to the microphone? Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Helena Brook, and my wife is Margot Fleming. You may have heard of Margot and Friends Band. When we moved up here 4 years ago from the Bay Area, we weren't sure. We've heard about some conservative elements and seen some signs in Lake County that made us wonder whether we would feel comfortable in this community. And I'm here to report that we really do. I think the only places that haven't booked Margot, it's maybe her music and not because she's a beautiful trans woman. So thank you. It's very special. And we are hosting with Cinnamon, Bon, and Scott at the Wine in the Willows on June 15th, a Pride celebration from 4 to 7, and it is a fundraiser for the Pride Prom because we figure they might need extra flowers, extra something to cover costs. So even if you can't make it, there's flyers here. You can donate directly to them for the prom. So thank you.
I want to thank Joey and this upswelling of support. Last year, I think it was you, me, and Harold up there kind of doing our little thing, and even that was very powerful. But to see this, a lively group of proud and enabled people. But I'm still also stricken by the people who still don't have that power of liberation, who still struggle in our society. Not conservative, liberal, just intolerance generally. I remember when I went up to a business trip in Eureka, I took a little side trip to Ferndale, and beautiful and Victorian and all that, and sure enough, there's a little billboard on a church sign that says the local theater presentation of the prom was anti-Jesus and pro-LGBT, and it's just like, the intolerance comes from any number of places, but religious intolerance in particular continues to be a struggle. Not just in this country, but in other countries. So one reason I definitely want to celebrate you here is I know for a fact much work is to be done in our society, but we also have a responsibility to the global community. Our struggle here is going to hopefully inspire generational change in other countries in the future. But right now, the situation is very dire in many countries. So continue to support each other, be a light to our local people, but also be a light to the world.
Same. Thank you for being here. Michael hit it. I think the first few times we did this was 1 or 2 folks. So thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being yourselves. Thank you. Take your time. Picture.
Did Joey and Vic? Yeah. Oh, wow. Everybody look at it. No. Oh, wow.
Wait, I want to get all these smiles. Okay. Oh, yeah. Perfect. Got it. Don't even have to talk anymore. Okay. There we go. So one more. Got it. Great. Thank you.
We got Trevor.
So my name's Kara.
Want to make sure you didn't walk away with that. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for that. Next, 6.5 or 9:10 a.m., presentation of proclamation recognizing Kelseyville High School K-Corps graduating class of 2024. Calpine item that was pulled?
Yeah, 6.3.
Oh, 5.3.
Or sorry, yeah, 5.3.
Oh, I guess so.
Yeah.
So the K-Corps proclamation this year is happening without our students because they are in a college class right now, so they couldn't come away. So Sheriff Howe is here with me. This is the Board of Supervisors, County of Lake, State of California proclamation recognizing Kelseyville High School K-Corps graduating class of 2024. Whereas Kelseyville Community Organization for Rescue and Public Service, K-Corps, is a 2-year program in which the student is selected based on strict criterion and academic abilities. And whereas the students work directly with the Lake County Sheriff's Office and are on call for 2 years, 24 hours a day. And whereas the members demonstrate an ability to perform with a high degree of excellence and commitment. And whereas the senior members assist the K-Corps teacher, Mrs. Holt, with training the junior members. And whereas all members become trained in high-angle rope rescue map and compass, GPS, search technique, evidence search, and body recovery. And the members become a certified first responder. And whereas these Kelseyville High School students have self-initiative and dedication that is outstanding. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Lake does hereby recognize the Kelseyville High School K-Corps graduating class of 2024 who are guided by their focus on their 3 Ps, prompt, prepared, polite, and strive to achieve the academic and personal success for all students, passed and adopted this 4th day of June 2024. Thursday night is the awards night for seniors, so I have this proclamation for each of them and a certificate thanking them for their years of service. And we did have them here last year, so we got to meet them as greenies last year, which is what the first year is called. So they're going to be moving out into the world, and for me, what blows me away with these kids is learning the benefits of service at such an early age. And I know when they go out in the world, they're going to continue to serve their communities for a long, long time. And that all started here in Kelseyville. So.
Well, I didn't know I was speaking until 2 seconds ago, but yeah, our K-Corps and all our volunteer groups are so valuable to our department, to our county. As Supervisor Pieska said, they're building this desire to serve their community at a young age, and they do so much. I remember my first days, young days as a deputy SWAT training. We'd have K-Corps out. They would assist us role-playing and do some actually scary good role-playing at times. But it's those kind of things. They've been there whenever we call them. And as you said, it's such a plus for our community and at a young age to know we'll have them for the rest of their adult lives too. So thank you for the proclamation.
Yeah. Thank you, Sheriff.
Yeah, I was going to go. Everybody, yes. Okay, here we go.
Thank you for that. Before we move on to our 6.6 item, we had a request to pull item 5.3 by one of our public members, so let's go ahead and open up 5.3. Adopt proclamation commending Calpine Corporation on 40 years of power generation. And Joan, I believe you asked this to be pulled? If you can come up to the microphone and let us know what's on your mind. Sorry, the microphone is, there you go.
Joan Moss. I am on Wildcat Road, and many of us struggled with Calpine. And I wanted to read to you what I read at the Mountain High Coffee Shop Sunday. Seismic Monitoring Advisory Committee. Calpine is part of that. I didn't understand a lot of it, but I really read that the people who represent the public, there were very few people attending the meeting. And Rob Stark was representing the community. He was the only person there representing the community. And I want to say that Calpine has, I didn't understand how much water they've used about the report, but I'm going to get a copy of it and try to understand it. And I'm going to try to understand the way the person representing the community yelled at me on the phone. Now, Sam gives me a hearing aid. Maybe I will get a hearing aid someday soon. But Calpine has been a poor neighbor, and I don't think they've been communicative with the people of the community. Thank you.
Thank you for your
Who
comment.
are me? I'm a journalist. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Pyska?
Yeah. So, thank you for your comments, Joan, but I have a really different perspective with the relationship, the public-private relationship with Calpine in the Cobb community and in the district and also countywide. I think they've been a tremendous friend and neighbor over the years. My history with Calpine goes way back to when my dad was one of the first 10 hires in the country, in the world. And then my sister, as a teen mom, had her first job there. And over the years, the investment in community, in the schools, when I was running the school garden program, it was a self-funded program. No money came from the district. And so every year, we could really count on Calpine supporting us at our public events. After the fire, do you remember the ice skating party that happened at the golf course for several weeks, bringing people together? That was funded by Calpine and their community philanthropy. You can always find Danielle at the fairgrounds during auction time. She's always buying animals. Calpine is always supporting the Sheriff's Foundation. Every place you turn around, you will see them supporting our community in every way. And we live in one of these counties where we don't have a lot of corporate partners that really step up. We don't see that a lot here. Napa County, Sonoma County, there's a lot of philanthropy that happens there. And there's a lot of benefit to the community, but here we just don't have that. But we do have a really wonderful partnership with Calpine, and they fill that public need all the time. And then our public partnership with the pipeline, we wouldn't be able to grow and develop. We wouldn't have the output that we have at the geysers without that pipeline water going in there, which contributes to our royalties, which is about to build a brand new park in Cobb. So there is a lot here. I'm really proud of our relationship over the decades, and I'm really honored to present this proclamation to them today.
Any other comments? Okay, let's go ahead and adopt 5.3. Oh,
No, I was just getting ready to make a motion.
okay, let's go for it.
Sorry. I move to adopt proclamation commending Calpine Corporation for 40 years of power generation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And with that, we will go to item 6.6, our 9:15 a.m. item, presentation of proclamation commending Calpine Corporation on 40 years of power generation.
You want to read it?
Oh, you can go ahead and read it.
Okay.
You got glasses.
I do. Board of Supervisors, County of Lake, State of California proclamation commending Calpine Corporation on 40 years of power generation. Whereas June 5th, 2024 marks 40 years since Calpine Corporation was founded in California, and Calpine Corporation now owns and operates the majority of the largest producing geothermal field in the world, located in Lake and Sonoma counties. And whereas Calpine's operation at the geysers now employ over 300 people, a majority which reside in Lake County, with about 150 full-time contractors, contributing significantly to the local economy through property taxes, royalties, goods, and services. Whereas Calpine is active in the community by supporting local emergency response units, partnering with area organizations, charities, schools, and maintaining a visitor center that is available for community events, and these efforts draw tourists to the area and educate the public on the benefit of geothermal power. And whereas, by consistently donating locally, participating in events, supporting local initiatives, joining public discussions, including key Lake County committees such as the Geothermal Advisory Committee, the Seismic Monitoring Advisory Committee, and the Geysers Air Monitoring Program, Calpine is actively engaged in community partner in Lake County. And whereas Calpine has teamed with the County of Lake to build the nation's first recycled water power-to project, the Southeast Geysers Effluent Pipeline Project has been providing an environmentally responsible way to dispose of treated recycled water, preventing its discharge into local waterways, and providing a sustainable source for steam for geothermal power operations that has helped sustain generation capacity at the geysers for over 26 years. Whereas Calpine Corporation is America's largest generator of electricity from natural gas and geothermal resources, with operations in competitive power markets serving customers in 22 states, Canada, and Mexico, providing over 26,700 megawatts of generation capacity. And whereas Calpine is the nation's largest renewable power, geothermal power producer, operating 13 geothermal power plants generating up to 725 megawatts of green baseload energy around the clock. And whereas Calpine is the forefront of California's clean energy revolution, investing in battery storage projects statewide to bolster grid reliability and support the transition to renewable energy sources, with a total of 2,000 megawatts of battery storage systems operating or in advanced development, Calpine is playing a pivotal role in securing California's energy future. And whereas through innovation, Calpine's consolidation of the geysers, steam field, and power plant is continuing to sustainably harness geothermal power from a natural clean energy source, heat from steam produced 1.5 miles below the Earth's surface, to produce electricity. Geothermal energy from the geysers is continuing to help meet California's bold greenhouse gas emissions reductions goals. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Lake County Board of Supervisors congratulates Calpine Corporation on 40 years of environmentally responsible power production, its outstanding financial and volunteer contributions to our area communities in which it operates, and the innovation, professionalism, and expertise of its employees who work hard daily to ensure the sustainability of the geysers and continuation of green geothermal power production in Lake County for years to come. Passed and adopted this 4th day of June 2024. also want to say that when the steam field was getting depleted in the late 80s, early 90s, a lot of the other corporations were pulling out of Lake County and pulling out of the geysers in general. And Calpine, slowly but surely, expanded and absorbed all of that infrastructure. So without this amazing partnership, we would not have the royalties that fund so much of our county government, including one of our deputies, a lot of the aquatic weed abatement in the lake, our parks. There's a lot of benefit that comes out of this relationship, and I really couldn't be more proud. Thank you.
Yeah, let me say something. Of course. So obviously, very long proclamation what you're doing, but the one thing that I know that Calpine does, they really reinvest in our kids, in the schools, in everything. I mean, they invest in it. They always show up. If it's a fundraiser, if it's a community event, I want to thank Calpine for that opportunity. But what I've seen and I've witnessed throughout the years of living here, and I'll be 52 this year, is Calpine always steps up for the kids. They always come through, make sure that they donate, make sure that they're taken care of, and also provide a great opportunity for young men and women to be hired and have a great paying job to stay local here. So can't thank them enough. And I haven't been up to see the battery project, but I plan on doing that. Moving into the next generation of power generation for California in the clean energy field, you know, Calpine is always at the forefront. So thank you very much for everything that's done in our communities. We'll continue that partnership for another 100 years, I hope. So, all right, thank you.
So I just have one brief comment. Growing up in Lake County really influences me professionally, and so I am really honored to be here on behalf of Calpine because they support an employee-driven community engagement program, and it's really an honor to accept this. Thank you so much.
Sure, I can use your phone. Yeah.
And also, tomorrow is the big anniversary party, so I will be bringing this to present to all of the employees.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, I'm so excited to share it with our 300 employees. So thank you.
So I'm being reminded that we did receive some public comments. I want to check in with both Supervisor Simon and Pyska. Do we want to read those out loud? I know 3 of them did make it onto the agenda. I have 1 that did not make it onto the agenda. Just want to check in with both of you on what your preference would be.
Do you want to read them? I don't have them pulled up.
Okay. I'll start with the one that was not posted on the agenda. This is from Joyce Overton, who is the Executive Director of the Highlands Senior Center. Calpine has been donating to Clear Lake Senior Center for at least the past 7 years. I can honestly say they have been a great contributor to our center. Every year they purchase animals from the 4-H at the fair auction and have it processed and donated to different organizations. They donated between $10,000 to over $20,000 worth of beef, pork, lamb, and goat every year to our seniors. There are many years our seniors would not have had much beef without their donations. As most know, our center has had years of hard times, and with Calpine support yearly, it has helped us continue our services. I want to thank the Board of Supervisors for honoring Calpine on their 40th anniversary as a great contributor to our county. I'll read the next one, which was from Jim Steele. The Lake County Silver Foundation is very pleased with the proposed forward-thinking resolution. If it were not for support from the business sector, many not-for-profit public organizations could not exist or function as well. Calpine has been a major supporter of LCSF for several years. We are open to donations from all sectors, and the list is eclectic, with Calpine among the top donors to make events such as the Senior Summit possible. The LCSF-produced Senior Summit Health and Wellness Fair brings government and private sector support providers and speakers in contact with 250 seniors and elders. This event helps support programs function better through their contact, and our survey of needs provides feedback for program improvements. We also recognize those outstanding seniors and elders who give back to the community. The recognition award is joined by Congressman Mike Thompson and elevates the spirit and visibility of the amazing give back efforts by the eldest generation. Thank you for stepping up with recognition for a business sector entity that is a major energy producer, but also a major community supporter. Your recognition might inspire others to become high-value community partners. Respectfully, Jim Steele, President, Founding Director, Lake County Silver Foundation. The next one is from, that's the same one. The next one is from the Lake County Wine Auction. I have learned that Calpine might be recognized by the BOS on their 40th anniversary. I would like to say how much we are appreciative of the support Calpine has given us over the years. Lake County Wine Alliance is the charitable arm of the Lake County wine industry. This year will be our 23rd annual event. From the past 22 years, we have distributed $2,853,752 to organizations in Lake County. This has been made possible in large part due to the continued support we have received from Calpine. They have been an enthusiastic supporter from the beginning. Just in the last 2 years, we have dispersed $526,000, one-third of which has gone to the 5 high schools in the county. We support programs all around the lake. If we did not have sponsors such as Calpine, this would not be possible. I was just at an event on Friday evening, was speaking with a group of people attending, and Calpine, Danielle Matthews Saparis, came up in the conversation. Her participation in events around the county were being lauded, such as the 4-H FFA livestock auction, sponsoring Rotary events, Little League teams, the Land Trust, and many, many more. It was on Saturday that I heard about the proclamation and thought about the conversation from the night before. I would just like to say how much we think Calpine is worthy of this recognition. And that was specifically Marie Beery, the Vice President. And there's one more, I believe there's one more. Yeah.
Here, though. You want?
You want to?
There you go.
Please do so, because I seem to have misplaced it.
Can't promise it's verbatim, but Rebecca Harper, Lake County Farm Bureau. I just wanted to thank Calpine and Danielle specifically. They've been a wonderful partner and supporter of Lake County Farm Bureau and also of California Women for Ag. I know many of you supervisors have been through the Ag Venture program, and so they're a huge supporter of that program. And as we've heard from many other stakeholders, they support lots that goes on in our community. So I think this recognition is really well deserved. And I'd also like to give a shout out to Danielle. I know she works really hard to bring all of that support to fruition. So we really couldn't be more lucky to have such a wonderful person responsible for all of that. So thank you, Danielle. And I think that moves the sentiment of my public comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can I squeeze in here?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The County Sheriff Rob, also just kind of echoing some of the comments made, lifelong resident here, 30 plus years with the county. Woke at 52, by the way, you'll still be just a kid. But in that lifetime here, I've never seen Calpine as anything but a supporter and a friend. We do have Sheriff Foundation events. I don't think Calpine has ever not been in the top contributors or supporters of those events. So I'd like to thank Calpine and Danielle as well.
Please.
Nancy Ruzika. I made it a point to come up here this morning, although it's graduation week and many things are going on here in Lakeport. I just wanted to say that one evening after my husband passed away, I was in a restaurant in Kelseyville, and I was seated alone, and across the room was Danielle, who asked me to join her. And I was feeling very sad at the time, but it made me reflect on the history of the geysers, especially I haven't heard it stressed in the comments, but Calpine has supported the entire county, not just the south end of the lake or the geysers, but the North Lakeport wastewater that went along Highway 20 to inject water into the geysers. And a man I enjoyed working with as a member of the Board of Supervisors. Walt Wilcox said to me one day, either this is going to be wonderful or it's going to be one of the biggest fiascos ever in Lake County. And I think it's been wonderful. And Danielle was in that restaurant because she was spending the night in Kelseyville because she was going to get out to Little Borax Lake early in the morning and supply waters and Calpine staff to clean up the area, joining the citizens cleaning up Clear Lake. And I thought that was awesome because Little Borax Lake is quite a ways away from the geysers. I was faced with a problem without my engineer husband when I wanted to buy the house next door to me that I had sold to the people 20 years ago, and they both had passed away. And the minute the for sale sign went up, I gave a full asking price offer to buy that house because I didn't want any yahoos living next door to me in North Lakeport. And they only gave me 5 days to inspect the house, which part of it is over the lake, and I didn't know what the underneath was like. And without an engineer's husband to help me, how was I going to inspect the house next door? And a man had worked for me for a year who works as a private consultant for Calpine. And all of a sudden, when I had a contractor there, a painting expert, because the bottom was waterproofed, the engineer showed up. I had a set of plans. He looked at the plans. He climbed under the house. He had been sent down by Calpine. So, you know, these are beautiful people that work there, representative in philanthropy by Danielle. And I personally want to thank Calpine because we had the privilege to work on that water line, do the survey work, and I think maybe the inspection. I'll have to look at the old records. And we were able to hire 2 interns that summer. And one of the interns is now the city public works director for the city of Ketchikan, Alaska. I'm really proud of her. So if you go to Ketchikan, Alaska cruise, look at that community. It's a Sausalito Hain on the side of the hill. And another intern who went on to work for, I think it was Peter Kiewit, and head up many projects for them. And he was from Nice. So I personally want to say thank you to Calpine, and thank you for recognizing them today.
Any other public comment on this? And thank you all for your comments and adding to the proclamation.
One more comment.
Oh, one more, please, come on up.
The meeting that I read was about Seismic Monitoring Committee, and I want you to know that my friend at Loch Lomond looks at a website, and there are 40 earthquakes a day up at Loch Lomond. I just want you to know that. And a lot of them are caused by the geothermal seismic activity. I didn't even get to speak my 3 minutes, so thank you very much.
Thank you. And with that, we will go ahead and close the item and move on to our 6.7 item, 9:30 a.m. Consideration of introduction from New Lake County University of California Cooperative Extension Director, Matthew Barnes. Come on up. You can come all the way to the front, please. Let's get comfortable. Good morning.
Good morning. Let's see.
And the mic is a little sensitive. If you can make sure and bring it more towards you. Yeah.
Okay, how's that?
Perfect.
All right, good morning, Chair Sabatier, members of the board. It's an honor, and I appreciate your time. It's an honor to be here, talk about UCCE, and introduce myself today. I recognize and appreciate having worked with several of you in various capacities over the years. For those who don't know me, my name is Matthew Barnes, and for the past 20 years, I've been a human services professional in Lake, Mendocino, and Sonoma counties. I've specialized in program and organizational development, specifically with underserved and indigenous communities. Prior to receiving my BSW from Cal Poly Humboldt, I'm a product of the Upper Lake School District. And for the last 15 years, my wife and I have been raising our 2 children in the South County. At this stage in my life, I am deeply committed to the wellness and advancement of Lake County. I bring that commitment to my new role as Area Director for the University of California Cooperative Extension, Lake and Mendocino counties. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge my predecessor, Dr. John Harper, Livestock and Natural Resources Advisor Emeritus. Dr. Harper's had an incredible career in Lake and Mendocino County, and we look forward to honoring him at the June 11th meeting here. I've been extremely fortunate that Dr. Harper has staggered his retirement with my starting. He's been there with me for this past month, and he's going to continue on until the end of June to ensure a smooth transition. So recently, the UC system adopted a new organizational model. I'm the 5th county area director in California under this new model, and it represents a significant shift in how we manage the county director roles. So historically, we have research advisors like Dr. Harper who split their time between their research and administration duties. Recognizing the need for dedicated leadership, the UC has transitioned to non-academic professionals with expertise in administration and program development. This change will allow for focused strategic planning, needs assessments, more community outreach, and overall program development, which my background is well suited for. As the full-time area director, I am committed to strengthening the relationships that our advisors and our programs have already made in this county, and also forging new connections, especially with the underserved and indigenous communities, where collaboration with UCCE has yet to be fully explored. I want to acknowledge this board's extensive support and collaboration with our Master Gardener program, with our 4-H program. Your support has made those 2 programs, specifically 4-H, one of the strongest per capita in the state, with clubs in every district. Additionally, our advisors have greatly benefited from the collaborations with boards and committees. Dr. Michael Jones, who is now actually our senior most advisor, forestry, is very active, of course, with Supervisor Pieska and Lake County Fire Safe Council, and frequent collaborator with forest health issues, I know, within all districts of Lake County. Dr. Christopher Chin, our viticulture advisor, is currently conducting important research in vineyard management and sustainable practices. Dr. Clebson Concave's diversified agriculture. He's received great support from the board and the community, and is very visible in our grower community. One of our newest advisors, Dr. Laura Garza, our water resources and climate change advisor, we believe she's going to make a great impact for a number of years on a number of Lake County issues, and we're definitely excited about her proposal for the Scotts Dam RFP. So 24-25, it's an exciting time for UCCE, and I'm thrilled to announce here the 2 new positions that University of California has approved for us. One is the 4-H Youth Advisor. In the past, Lake and Mendocino counties have had 4-H Youth Advisors. This 4-H Youth Advisor will be looking to hire specifically a career and college readiness specialist. We're also approved to hire a livestock and natural resources advisor, which will be Dr. Harper's replacement. In addition to those positions, the beneficial burning and tribal land stewardship advisor is now accepting applications. That position will be housed at the Hopland Research Center. However, they will be conducting their research and work in Lake and Mendocino counties. So the future for world-class agricultural research in Lake County has really never been brighter, and it's an honor to lead this amazing team. I look forward to learning from you, the board, and community leaders in each district on how we can best serve the community. Thank you for your continued support and collaboration.
Thank you so much, Mr. Barnes, for being here, introducing yourself, and looking forward to all the activities of your department. I think it's great to have that direct access to such a high academic threshold in California, and I know that many of my colleagues have utilized that access to their fullest. Supervisor Pyska.
Yeah, it's really nice to meet you. And when the other positions are filled, can we bring everybody in and we can meet them?
Yeah, that would be great.
I don't think we've met Dr. Garza yet either.
Right. No, that would be great.
It's
Yeah.
really exciting.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Supervisor Green?
Yeah, also want to welcome you. You said you had an MSW, is that right?
BSW.
BSW, nice. Appreciate, welcome, and what I appreciated most in your presentation was that last sentence or two, world-class research. Well, we have world-class needs here in Lake County, and the function of the extension historically has been to support agriculture and just natural resources generally, and so I'm glad that you are assuming the leadership role. I'm glad that we're pivoting some of the other pieces into place, and I very much look forward to hearing what this invigorated organization is going to bring to Lake County, just because I've been impatiently asking for this, that, and the other, and you know, it's all about building the blocks for progress, and I'm excited to see what you're able to do in the next few years.
Thank you.
Matt,
Chair.
welcome aboard. I have the uppermost faith that you'll set out for all the goals. You'll obtain all the goals you're setting out for. I know your experience, and I've, Upper Lake High School. That's great. And also, I've, seen you work in different capacities, and you've always done a really great job. So I have faith in you.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Supervisor Crandall.
And I will add one more thing. I know my colleague asked to meet the staff once you filled all those positions. I'm interested also in your strategic plan. Once that's put together, whether it's a draft or a final, I'd love to make sure that we can align what our activities are with your strategic plan as well.
Absolutely.
Supervisor Sanders.
Nope, welcome. We're here to support you as you move through that process in each one of our districts. But, also what excited me about the science and cultural science from the food that's been providing for people that have lived here for thousands of years, acorns, manzanita berries, all these things. I would like to see that incorporated into the farming and the agricultural industry that's here in Lake County. I know the tribes are really working hard on that, but it has sustained life for a long time, farming in a different manner of the natural resources provided by Mother Earth. So hopefully UCC and we can enhance that as you're here. So thank you very much, Matt. Welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you. And that's definitely one of the goals.
All right, let's go ahead and open it up for the public. Anyone wish to comment, speak, ask questions? I see none in the chamber and no hands up in the Zoom room. Mr. Barnes, it was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I'm going to deviate a little bit. We pulled a consent item that was also related to the sheriff. I think that should be pretty quick. That was item 5.19, I believe. Approved destruction of records, paper, or document which is more than 2 years old, or document that is not expressly required by law to be filed and preserved. I do want to give the opportunity for Joan to at least provide the reason for pulling the item, so that then afterwards the sheriff's department can respond.
John Moss. I usually don't speak, but what happened to me is when Sheriff Martin became sheriff, I told him that before I print anything, I will run it through him to make sure I get all sides of the story. And I did. I put it through him. And now I am communicating with some officials. I'm a part of the Citizens Public Inquiry Unit of the California Attorney General. And I want to say that I was at the Vietnam Veterans Holiday, and I went up to Sheriff Martin.
Joan, I want to make sure that
I
we
want to
come
tell
back to the
him this
document.
is about law enforcement.
No, this is about the
And
documents and
and I
discussion.
told him, I appreciate you, and I know we disagree. And you know what he called me? A journalist. He said, you're just a journalist. And that's what I am. I try to get all sides of the story. And what I'm afraid of is that the sheriff will throw away things that the Attorney General might be interested in. That's all. Same with the Department of Water Resources. I just don't think, I hope that we're going to be honorable and not throw away things we disagree with. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sheriff Howe?
I can just say that, Rob Howe, Lake County Sheriff, that the sheriff has absolutely no intention of destroying any items that aren't lawfully able to be destroyed.
Yeah. Expressly states so in the memo based on state law. These are the documents that we are able to legally destruct, and obviously make room for more documents to ensure that you keep holding on to what we need to. Is there any other comment from board members? Questions? Supervisor Green?
Just more of a comment. We have multiple departments that occasionally come to this board to destroy records that are eligible to be destroyed. You know, the government does not require us to keep all forms of documents for time immemorial, and this is clearly within the authority granted that. I will note that some other departments have crafted what are called permanent or continuous records destruction policies. I think given the complexity of the documents that the sheriff and the coroner maintain, that might be something you might want to take a look at moving forward, or perhaps the next sheriff. But it's not really a criticism, because when you're just looking at a storage room full of old dusty boxes, you know, this is the more typical item that I've seen come forward before. So not all records are created equal. There is such a thing as routine destruction of documents, and I believe even journalists have some understanding of that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Vice Chair?
I move to approve destruction.
Let's open it for the public first.
Oh, I didn't.
I'll come right back to you.
I thought you did.
Let's open it up for public comment. Anyone wish to speak on this item? Come on up to the microphone.
Hello, Elise Jones, Director of Lake County Behavioral Health Services. I'd just like to say that in the past several months, I had the honor and opportunity to tour the sheriff's office, as well as where they keep a lot of evidence and all kinds of things of that nature. And I was really impressed with the staff and the how they take it very seriously. They keep evidence like forever. And we even seen recently that they resurrected a cold case based on evidence that they had. So I just want to say that I had that experience, and I commend the sheriff's office for their integrity with handling their business.
Thank you very much for your comment. And seeing no further hands in Zoom or anyone getting up in the chamber, I'll bring it back for the Vice Chair.
I move to approve destruction of records, paper, or document which is more than 2 years old, or document that is not expressly required by law to be filed and preserved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we will move on to the next sheriff item at 10 a.m. A, consideration of sub-application approval for hazard mitigation project DR 4482-AP00480, Lake County Multi-Jurisdictional Mitigation Plan Update. B, authorize a resolution designated the county administrative officer, the sheriff coroner director of emergency services, and the sheriff coroner administrative manager as the county's authorized agents. C, authorize CAO Parker to sign project assurances and supplemental grant subaward information sheet. And D, authorize CAO Parker and Board of Supervisors Chair to sign the cooperative agreement with City of Clear Lake and City of Lakeport. Sheriff Howe.
Good morning. Sheriff Rob Howe again. I'm here with Office of Emergency Services Manager Leah Sautelay, who will be presenting this item and hopefully answering any questions you might have.
Good morning, Board. Thank you for having us. I think, as you read, we're just requesting some signatures. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
All right. Any questions from the board? Comments? I believe that the previous hazardous mitigation plan was not done multi-jurisdictionally as it is, so I'm appreciative to see that expansion and that collaboration, and I'm glad that we're moving forward on that. That's my only comment. Supervisor Simon.
I will just follow up on that. Taking this collaborative step, I think, is so important as the protection of our citizens here in Lake County. So I want to commend you on this that's been brought to the board today, and also make a comment that there are probably 7 other mitigation plans that are in place with governments, which are the tribal governments, which are out there too. And eventually it would be great to see a complete collaboration. But this is a great step forward, Sheriff Howe and Leah. Thank you very much for bringing this and fully support this today with the City of Lakeport and the City of Clear Lake.
See no further pens up. Let's go ahead and open it up for the public. Anyone wish to speak on this item? I see no hands in Zoom and no movement in the chamber. Bring it back to the board for actions.
Mr. Chair, I move oversee A, consideration of sub-application approval for hazard mitigation project DR4482 AP00480 Lake County multi-jurisdictional mitigation plan update. Separate? You want them all separate?
It would be separate, and under A, it would be an approval for that
Okay,
sub-application.
approve the sub-application.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
And B, authorize a resolution. Do you want me to just offer the resolution or read the whole thing?
For B, it would be offering the resolution.
Offer the resolution?
Resolution has been offered.
Supervisor Simon?
Yes.
Supervisor Crandall?
Yes.
Supervisor Green?
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska?
Yes.
And Supervisor Sabatier?
Aye.
C, authorize CAO Parker to sign project assurances and supplemental grant award information sheet.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
And D, authorize CAO Parker and Board of Supervisors Chair to sign the cooperative agreement with City of Clear Lake and City of Lakeport.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have our 10:15 a.m. item, 6.9, consideration of letter of support for the Tribal Eco Restoration Alliances, TERRA, PG&E's Better Together Nature Positive Innovation Grant, and authorize the chair to sign. Supervisor Pyska?
We have our climate resiliency officer here also. We were notified late last week of these 2 items, the next one as well. This one is to support TERRA, and as you all know, TERRA has just recently received some pretty significant federal funding, which we were happy to also be a part of and support. And this is just another effort to continue to develop that capacity with such a critically important program here in the county.
Yes, we're excited about this because of the training, the workforce development training opportunities that will be made available through the work that Tara's doing. And to get more people trained in traditional ecological knowledge. And I believe Kristen Murphy from the Lake County RCD and who also works with TERRA, the Tribal Eco Restoration Alliance, is online. If you have any other questions.
She is online. If you wanted to speak, Kristen Murphy, please raise your hand and we will bring you over to the panelists. And I say we, but that's not me. Thank you, Johanna.
Good morning. Thank you so much for adding this as an agenda item last minute last week. This first letter of support for Tara for the PG&E Better Together Nature grant is specifically to help develop the new parcel that Tara is currently undergoing to acquire in Upper Lake, to help develop it to a fully fledged training center. Quite to what Terry was just saying, we're very excited to be using it as an eco-cultural demonstration site to be able to host the workforce training program there on site, and other members of community to learn more about how to integrate traditional ecological knowledge into bioresiliency, forest health, and all of those other kind of natural resource management tools that Tara provides. This grant is being applied for about $100,000 and will go directly to staff and the purchasing and equipping of that demonstration site.
Thank you very much. Vice Chair?
Yes, I had the privilege of attending the graduation ceremony that was in my district a couple weeks back, and there was about 10 to 12 graduates sharing what they've learned in regards to plants, how they operate, what they're used for, the names, the Latin names, if you will, the ancestral names. And so it was really a good program, and I like how you mentioned workforce, because a lot of them had jobs lined up once they finished that. So so I think it's a good program, and I just wanted to highlight that I was able to attend that graduation.
Thank you for that. Supervisor Green?
Thank you. Appreciate this. I don't see in the agenda packet the grant proposal itself. But to the support letter we're being asked to consider today, it's to I guess my question is, if the site has not been fully acquired yet, is this grant application demonstration site tied to the acquisition of that site, or can this work be done on alternate sites if there's a problem with the site under consideration? And it's just an academic question. I'm sure things are going to move ahead, but I don't know the timeline of this particular grant, and I didn't see the grant proposal in the bundle.
That's a great question, and one that we are also considering at Tara. So we have been working with a realtor, with the property owner, and with the county planning department to ensure that Tara will indeed acquire this property. We have the zoning all sorted out. We are certain that the funds to buy this property are earmarked for Tara and actually the Workforce Alliance of the North Bay, who is the lead applicant on this grant. Those funds to purchase the property come from HUD, the federal entity, passed through to the state through the Housing and Community Development Agency here in California. There were $6.6 million allocated specifically for Lake County related to the 2018 wildfires that occurred. So we are working with the grantor right now to ensure that that's happening. We actually just submitted another budget adjustment yesterday, I believe, and are working on ensuring that we can get advance payment to actually purchase this property, since it's a couple $1 million, and wanting to make sure that the cash flow works for that. So we are positive that we will get the funding to purchase that property. We have a timeline, so that way the Tara should have site control by January 2015 after escrow and all of that real estate processing happens. We are assuming that we are going to have this PG&E grant start also in January 2025. So that way we have a full 12 to 18 months to be able to actually implement the work that we're describing in the proposal. One of the reasons why you don't have that proposal is that we are still working on it, actually. We really only had the opportunity to start working on it last week, which is why it was a late notice for the letter of support. So we should be finishing that up today.
Thank you for the very detailed answer. Appreciate it. And it's not going to be contingent on our support letter today, but would love to see that grant when it does come together.
Absolutely.
Kristen, I just want to thank you and Jade and the RCD for pulling all of these things together. I can't even, I'm just so excited about the amount of millions of dollars that are flowing in just from these collaborations that we've spent the last few years building. So thank you so much.
Me too. It's my pleasure. I'm glad to be doing it with all of you.
I see no further comments or questions. Let's go ahead and open it up for the public. Anyone wish to speak on this item? I see no hands in Zoom and no one moving in the chamber, so I'll bring it back to the board.
I move that we approve the letter of support for the Tribal Eco Restoration Alliance's Terra PG&E's Better Together Nature Positive Innovation Grant and authorize the chair to sign.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We will continue right along with item 6.10 or 10:16 a.m. Consideration of letter of support for the Coalitions and Collaboratives Community Catalyst Fund grant application submitted by the Lake County Resource Conservation District, LCRCD. Supervisor Pyska.
The COCO grant is another opportunity that we have been able to successfully leverage in the past. So I'm really excited to see this opportunity coming up once again. Again, for building out the capacity that we have so long needed. Do you want to say anything, Terry?
Yeah, it's another opportunity for a local organization, this time the Resource Conservation District, to partner with our Forest Service. As you know, the Mendocino National Forest has been hit quite hard. 98% has burned since 2018. And so the more local partnerships to develop and work on that land there I think is just a positive thing. And so again, Kristen Murphy from Jade with the Lake County RCD is also on the line to answer any of your questions.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Ms. Murphy?
Yeah, I'll just briefly add that we're really excited about this grant possibility as it is pretty flexible funding, and we will be spending a lot of it on further developing the RCD. As I think you all know, the RCD has really been in a capacity building phase for the last year and a half, and this will just continue to add to that. So we do have the new RCD executive director working in a part-time capacity as a contractor until August. This grant will support her work as well as the other RCD staff to be able to build those kind of systems, standard operating procedures in order to be able to better conserve the natural resources of Lake County, definitely in relationship to the Forest Service that Terry mentioned. So this will be able to support grant writing and staff development and the development of policies, et cetera. You know, and really being able to better incorporate feedback from the local community into how the RCD will plan their next steps. This will include strategic planning funding that we hope to hear from all of you about how to better integrate that into the programs that the RCD is conducting.
Thank you very much. Any comments from board members? I see none. Let's go ahead and open it up for the public. Anyone wish to speak on this item? See no hands in Zoom, no movement in the chamber. I'll bring it back to the board for action.
I move we approve the letter of support for the Coalitions and Collaboratives Community Catalyst Fund grant application submitted by the Lake County Resource Conservation District. And authorize the chair to sign.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Yes.
Chair, may we take a short break?
Yes, let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break. We will reconvene at 10:50 a.m. All right, let's reconvene here. We are on item 7.2, consideration and discussion of an agreement with Black Dog Designs for a Trails website for an amount not to exceed $31,559.97 and authorize the chair to sign. I do want to make a announcement that we are going to pull this item and bring it back next week for a small slight change. We did receive some public comments regarding this. We'll make sure to forward that to make sure those appear on next week's agenda. Let's go ahead and open that up for public comment on moving forward with this item to next week. And seeing no hands and no one moving in the chamber, we will go ahead and continue on. 7.3, second reading, consideration of ordinance amending Article 1 of Chapter 27 of the Lake County Code, fire mitigation fees. And we have CAO Parker.
Yes. Actually, our county counsel will speak to this. There's amendments that he's made.
Okay. Mr. Guantanamo.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, coming out of the first reading of the ordinance, staff has discovered really just one other minor, I would say typographical error that would warrant a revision or an amendment in the second reading. And so for clarification, it would be under the current draft that was approved on the first reading by your board. It would be under section 27-7 sub D. And in that subsection, the word above should be deleted because it makes reference to section 27-8, which is actually below that subsection. So that would be the typographical change. So for further clarification, the last two lines of that subsection should read section 27-7 is setting fire mitigation fee amount requested by the agency, comma, subject to adjustments under section 27-8, period. The revision shall be effective the following July 1. So for your board's consideration, your board may adopt the ordinance as amended, and it would be much similar to a resolution where, for purposes of the second reading, the ordinance would be offered as amended.
And would that count as our second reading, or it would have to come back again?
It would count as a second reading because the change is just minor.
It's not substantive, yeah. I was hoping for that, so thank you. Okay. Any comments or questions regarding this? I see none from the board. Want to open it up for the public. Anyone wish to speak on this item? Please come on up. Oh. Mind if I wait? Okay.
Willie Cepeda, Lake County Fire. On behalf of the fire chiefs and the communities we serve, just wanted to thank you for your continued support. We definitely appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this item? I see no hands in Zoom and no one else in the chamber. Supervisor Green?
Yeah, just wanted to echo Chief Wrights wasn't able to be here today, but obviously he's in strong support of this, and I want to thank the fire chiefs and chair for their work on this. It's in a sense, it's a little bit of a housekeeping item, but in our context, it's not. So this is an important step forward for our fire districts. I think they're all excited to see this move forward, and they would really like it to happen today. So if we can, you're saying we don't have to bring it back for another second reading? Okay. So if there was nothing further, I move to adopt amending Article 1 of Chapter 27 of the Lake County Code, fire mitigation fees as amended.
It would, in essence, be offering the ordinance as amended with a roll call vote.
Whatever you just said, so moved or offered.
Thank you for your help, Mr. Guintivano. The ordinance has been offered.
Supervisor Simon?
Yes.
Supervisor Crandall?
Yes.
Supervisor Green?
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska? Yes. And Supervisor Sabatier?
Aye. All right, thank you very much. Moving on to item 7.4, consideration of amendment number 1 to the agreement between the County of Lake and drug medical services provider Redwood Community Services, Inc., Thule House, SUD, perinatal residential in the amount of $163,427.85 for fiscal year 23-24. Director Jones, welcome.
Yes, thank you so much. So to start with, this is a program that serves the perinatal population, which is moms and kids. It's a facility where you can bring your kid, which is the preferred model. It is also 100% Medi-Cal reimbursable. So some services are not, and some services aren't covered, although as your board is aware, we are expanding services beginning July 1st with the ODS waiver, so that's really exciting. But because this falls under the early prevention and periodic screening, it's EPSDT is the benefit, and that provides for 100% reimbursement. So we're all aware of the reimbursement issues with the state. However, again, on paper, it is 100% reimbursable for those services, and it is the only perinatal residential service provider in Lake County. So though we're hoping to expand our network, they remain a critical partner.
Thank you very much for your summary. Any comments, questions regarding this item? Open it up for the public. Anyone wish to speak on this item? See none in Zoom, no one getting up in the chamber. Bring it back to the board for action.
Move to approve Amendment Number 1 to the agreement between the County of Lake and Drug Medi-Cal Services provider Redwood Community Services, Inc., Thule House, SUD, perinatal residential, in the amount of $163,427.85 for fiscal year 2023-2024, and authorize the chair to sign.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we are going to go back to item 5.21. This is for Water Resources and Lake County Watershed Protection District. Sitting as the Lake County Watershed Protection District Board of Directors, A, waive the formal bidding process pursuant to Lake County Code Section 38.2, as it is not in the public interest due to the unique nature of the goods and services, and B, authorize the County of Lake Water Resources Director to sign a memorandum of understanding agreement between the Lake County Watershed Protection District and the Tribal Eco Restoration Alliance for the time period of June 1st, 2024 through April 30th, 2026. I pulled this item specifically for two reasons. One is I disagree with Part A, 100% agree with Part B, but I wish that we had gone through an RFP process prior to doing that. Also, there is a mismatch. Here, we would be saying that we approve of the time period of June 1st through April 30th, 2026, but the agreement at this moment in time says it's through May 30th, 2026, and hoping to get some clarification to, at the very least, solve that problem or solve that discrepancy, and wondering if Jordan Beaton might be able to speak on that. And then I do know we had a public member who also wanted to pull that item, and so we will get to you.
Good morning. Jordan Beaton, Water Resources Program Coordinator. Angela DePalma-Dow is also on the line, and she can address your second question, but I had a few comments to provide for your consideration. First, the MOU. In the MOU, there are a wide variety of tasks, such as education, outreach, invasive plant species management, as well as native planting, water quality support, prescribed burns, as well as Clear Lake Hitch-related activities. Because of this wide variety, this would likely involve multiple RFPs and RFQs, which would increase our staff time doing that, which we don't think is a great use of our staff time. Terra is also a nonprofit, so nonprofit or no profit margin, and they have comparable rates to other contractors. Because we are essentially using Terra as staff augmentation, we need people that are familiar with the area, the issues, the processes of the county, and they have a local connection. And we've worked with them in the past, and it's been fantastic. Further, we feel that the positive result of the professional relationship between the county, tribal organizations, and local organization partnerships in general are a public benefit that outweigh any costs. That's how we feel. Angela, if you have any comments regarding the date issue, please jump in.
Thank you, Jordan. Angela DePalma-Dow, Lake County Watershed Protection District. I just second everything that Jordan has stated. And then to the point for the discrepancy between the memo and the agreement, we would like the agreement to be approved, or the MOU to be approved with the June 1st, 2024 date through May 30th, 2026, as stated on the front page of the MOU. That would be preferred. But other than that, everything that Jordan said, I agree with and stand by, and note that this is an MOU for a partnership between Terra and the district. And we have current outstanding grants and projects that were made possible because we had an existing MOU with Terra previously from 2022. And so I'm unsure of how those would stand if we no longer have a continuing MOU, because we were competitive and received those grant projects because we had this partnership with a local tribal nonprofit organization. And I will remain on the line if there's any further questions, and thank you.
Just a quick clarification, May 30th or May 31st?
May 30th is fine. That's what's in the MOU. We'll just keep it at that.
Okay. Thank you very much for your comments. Any comments from board members? Supervisor Green?
Well, I guess I kind of half agree with you on the A part, but only half, because I'm not really taken about the exception under 38.2 paren 3, because that would mean any nonprofit that's a 501c3, we just wouldn't go out to bid. So I don't think that's correct, but I'm going to give credit to staff for 38.2 paren 2. I think there is a unique nature of the goods and services that would preclude competitive bidding, and so I'm quite comfortable with this contract moving forward today.
Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and open it up for public comment. Anyone wish to speak on this item? Please comment up. I'm sorry, I forgot that you had wanted to pull this as well.
Joan Moss. I know that I've heard gossip about Big Valley, and there's a group in Big Valley that studies the hitch and doesn't meet with Sarah Ryan and doesn't approve of the EPA. So I think that looking at a tribe as a tribe is not quite accurate. I think an individual is accurate. And I would listen to this young lady with the brown hair because I think money is one thing, but the hitch are something else. They don't have a choice. Okay? They have to try to live. And I think that everybody needs to learn to talk to each other and get together and compromise. That's sometimes hard to do.
Thank you for your comment. I see no further hands up in Zoom and no one else in the chamber. Oh, Angela DePalma Dow.
We do have a Terra representative on the line. Kristen, I know her hand was up and then it went down, so I didn't know if she needed time to speak on behalf of Terra.
Ms. Murphy?
Hi. Yes, I want to just address that last comment. Terra does not represent any particular tribe. And so Terra is a multi-tribal collaborative that does have a board that is full of people who are representing and from the different tribes of Lake County. But Terra is its own entity that takes guidance from the tribes of the county, but does not represent any one opinion. So whatever gossip there may be about Big Valley or any of the other tribes there is not going to be affecting the way that Terra operates in their work. It sounds to me that the Board of Supervisors is convinced of the unique nature of Terra as an organization to be able to be considered for a direct MOU short of the formal RFP. But if there are any questions about that, I'm happy to answer them as well.
Thank you very much, Ms. Murphy. Bringing it back to the board, I'll just finish my comment. If it's possible to do two separate motions, the way that our purchasing ordinance has been drafted is if we utilize a waiving of the bidding for unique nature of goods and services, we're supposed to provide documentation for sole source or information as such, and I do not see any documentation provided to tell us that that is the only opportunity we have. I appreciate what Terra has done and will continue to do, and I hope that we can continue to work with them in the future. But I want to make sure that we, especially if it's hitch related, there are going to be so many projects, and I want to make sure that we ensure that we give the money to those who are going to do the work that we want and at the rate that we want. I don't think because you're a nonprofit that you're automatically going to match the rates of other nonprofits. Salaries are different between other nonprofits. And again, I respect the work that they do, and I'm happy to approve B, but I cannot approve A. So it depends how the board wants to move forward. If you want to do both, so be it. If you want to split it, that would be great. Supervisor Green?
I guess a quick question for Tara. If this is a super time-sensitive thing, or if we can kick the tires on this a week. And one reason I'm asking that is if we didn't provide the documentation, such would get you comfortable about the uniqueness of these services. I'm confident Tara could provide that. And the other reason I want to kind of deep dive just a little bit is if we successfully move forward with this either today or next week after we provide that documentation, I'm aware that there are some other projects kind of out there in the wings that may be directly funded by Blue Ribbon or something like that. So I want to make sure that we understand fully our ability as the Watershed Protection District to let contracts to interface effectively with our local tribal communities and organizations like TERA, because unlike the state, when we're putting money through these projects, we're not putting stuff in our MOU about a waiver of a sovereign immunity. And so I think looking forward to the Clear Lake Hits response and other types of projects, really understanding our capacity as a county and as a watershed district to enter into meaningful contracts with tribal organizations and organizations like TERA is going to be mission critical to moving forward. And I'm not saying that because I know for sure that the state funding is going to hit a hiccup with the tribes. I'm just a little concerned about some other projects that are not before us today and how they're getting funded. So, so I guess my one question for Tara is if we put this off a week, would that be a deal killer?
I'm going to refer to Angela.
Hello. To answer your question, Supervisor Green, we do have projects scheduled this summer. For example, Tara is a partner with us on a primrose removal project and a Thule restoration project. We do have trainings next week with the city of Lakeport at Hobbiton Park. So that training would not be able to go forward. We can push it back throughout the season. I'm just not clear on what the extra week would do. If you're looking for the documentation that will justify the unique services, if you refer to the attachment to the memo, page 6, there is a list of the project goals and outputs that TERA is specialized, experienced, and capable in providing. And there's a list of 8 things there that are very wide ranging, that we've had discussions and plans with TERA before and had projects working with them before. And then a lot of these things overlap with projects currently that TERA is working on as well as the district. So we feel like that was a good example of the breadth, the scope of expertise that TERA brings to further identify them as being unique and providing these unique goods and services, in addition to their nonprofit status, which means we are saving through that reduced profit margin or no profit margin. I think I addressed all your questions. There is significant capacity limits within the district, and so TERA has been essential. In fact, some of the grants and projects that we've received, especially one through the Blue Ribbon Committee for additional primrose removal and Rodman Slough, we would not have gotten without identifying that TERA is a partner, because we would not have been able to do that project without TERA as a partner, without their skills for that project. So yes, there are some projects that we would not be applicable for without a resource like TERA working with us and having that pre-existing MOU from before.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. And we're back to the board for any action to take.
If there's not further, Chair, I move to waive the formal bidding process pursuant to Lake County Code Section 38.2, paren 2, as it is not in the public interest due to the unique nature of the goods and services.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay.
I also move to authorize the County of Lake Water Resources Director to sign a memorandum of understanding agreement between the Lake County Watershed Protection District and the Tribal Eco Restoration Alliance for the time period of June 1, 2024 through May 30, 2025?
2026.
2026.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Water Resources, for helping out.
Thank you.
All right, we will continue where we left off. We were on 7.5, Consideration of the following advisory board appointment, Fish and Wildlife Advisory Committee. We have one applicant, Chris McLeod from District 2, the district I serve, for Fish and Wildlife. Both her and I were not aware that she termed out at the beginning of the year. She had the inability to apply at that moment in time due to dealing with some personal stuff, but she is ready to go and applied and ready to go back into the Fish and Wildlife Advisory Board. So happy to move forward with that. And seeing no pens up, let's open it up for public. Any comments? Anyone wish to speak on this item? And seeing none, let's bring it back to the board for action.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve Chris McLeod as the Fish and Wildlife representative for District 2.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration of proposed findings of fact and decision in the appeal of John C. Oliver, AB 2401. Mr. Guintivano.
Yes, good morning, members of the board, Mr. Chair. Coming out of your the public hearing on April 23rd, 2024 on this appeal, I have prepared the attached findings of fact and decision pursuant to your board's intended decision from that hearing. And on that hearing, your board determined by a vote of 3-2 to grant the appeal. So the enclosed or attached findings of fact and decision are before your board today for your consideration as a reflection of what your board intended coming out of that public appeal hearing.
Okay, thank you. Are there any comments or questions from board members? Okay. I did receive a letter, and I'm going to read it. I think it might take 3 to 4 minutes, so please bear with me. This is from Laura. Dear Supervisor Sabatier, we're writing to ask that the Board of Supervisors reconsider its deeply flawed, biased, and unreasonable granting of the appeal to John Oliver and Leo Cortina of Higher Ground Farms on April 23rd, and not move forward with the findings of fact scheduled for your Tuesday meeting. The record of findings you have provided as the basis of granting the appeal is based primarily on false information, including mischaracterization by Supervisor Michael Green and outright falsehoods presented by planning staff. As such, at the very least, the record should be purged of those statements and resubmitted. Among the most egregious aspects of the April 23rd hearing was that the board ignored the record of significant public opposition to the project and the overwhelming amount of information we provided, hundreds of pages of evidence, in fact, and instead granted the appellant's appeal based on only one sentence, a claim that the project met all of the regulations that he submitted in writing. Planning staff then manufactured during the hearing information submitted to you as material facts that were in fact provably false. They have consistently attacked us in a way of helping to bolster Higher Ground Farms, which they are treating as a client, and that practice continued during the hearing. Among the most outrageous claims put forward by the principal planner as the planning director sat beside her and looked on without taking any action to correct her was that the Kelsey Creek Schoolhouse had been moved to its current location next to the property where the marijuana grow is planned several years ago. It was not. We have told them that repeatedly, both verbally and in writing, that such was not the case. The information we have shows the school has been there since 1882. In short, your principal planner committed perjury under oath on the spot as her boss said nothing. Trying to claim staff didn't know or made a mistake after we had told them in person and submitted documents about the building's history numerous times doesn't work. That dog don't hunt, especially considering how the county promoted the principal planner's hire for the experience she supposedly has. Someone with her purported level of experience shouldn't be that negligent, biased, and sloppy. The defective nature of the hearing, which wasn't even noticed properly to begin with, only continued. Later in the hearing, when planning staff continued to make false statements, you did not let us respond to them, thus depriving us of our due process and right to address your staff's falsehoods. Ahead of that hearing, we requested that staff and county officials declare any relationships with the applicants. That request was ignored. In addition, no ex parte discussion were disclosed at the board meeting. We know there have been several. One of those include a phone call we received from Supervisor Green in January, days after the Planning Commission denied the project, telling us that the county had approved the project. At first, we thought he was merely mistaken, then we realized that he was telling us what the board intended to do. This is more evidence of an unfair process. But there was no disclosure of ex parte discussions, and context is important since the majority of the board appear to have already made up their minds, as evidenced by Supervisor Green's comments. If it's all a foregone conclusion, why go through this absurd pantomime that you actually are interested in public comment? This board clearly is not. Decisions are made and minds set well before you ever come into the room. The board has proved that time and again. Most troubling of all, the Community Development Director, Maria Turner, and her staff consistently discounted our concerns and have made it abundantly clear that they mean to throw every imaginable obstacle in the way of our restoration and reuse of the historic schoolhouse by treating it as a modern building, triggering significant alterations to a historic building. How good a project can Higher Ground Farms be if planning staff has to attack the neighbors and present wholesale fabrications of neighboring properties in an effort to bolster Higher Ground's case? What unspoken benefit exists in this dynamic? After months of ignoring the concerns we raised a year ago, planning staff only met with us at the last minute before the January 11th Planning Commission, at which time minor concessions were granted. Those concessions were then used against us by Supervisor Green and planning staff at the April 23rd hearing to suggest we had been willing to support the project, when that was never the case. That's like saying a person with a gun to their head is showing support for the person who is holding the gun. I'm going to pause right here. I think we should post this, but I will not continue reading this. Disparaging my own colleagues and verbalizing it is not something that I feel good about, but at the same time, I want to give this the public noticing since it was submitted to me. I'm not content in reading this, and so I will pause. But I will also say that we can all have very different perspectives on what we hear and understand, but that does not mean that there is conspiracy to make decisions in a way that will disparage or harm others, especially the communities we serve. I think we're always going to have moments of disagreements, and I think this is one of those, but I cannot continue with the type of tone that this letter provides. And again, I will send this over to our CAO so that it can be posted. And I will say that while I did disagree with the outcome of that appeal, today is not the appeal. We are not going to relitigate this appeal. And so today it's whether the discussions that we had are written appropriately in the facts and findings that our county council has provided us. So today, my intention is to approve those facts and findings because this is not about a vote on the project itself. I will provide one concern that I hope that we can resolve in the future, and also want to make sure that it's put out there. The project did mention both cannabis and hemp. The two cannot be combined on the same property based on the rules and regulations that we have created for hemp. But at this moment in time, there is no specific hemp license. That was the intention of the project, and that project will not be able to happen if those two things happen simultaneously. And I hope that in the future, our community development it looks at those rules and regulations if there is somebody else who wants to do both of those things at the same time. Again, not looking to relitigate, just making a quick statement of what I hope we can maybe do better next time so that we can make sure our applicants are aware of the status of their projects and what they anticipate to do. And I will close those comments, and I will say I apologize for those who were named in those letters. That did not feel good for me to read. Leave it at that. Supervisor Green.
Thank you. Appreciate the comments, and I fully agree. We're not here to relitigate. We're not here to reopen the public hearing. And so to the extent that the Lara letter, such as has been read into the record, attempts to do that, I'm not going to give that any credence right now. Other than the portions that make unfortunate statements as to our community development staff. I disagree strongly with any allegation or hint that there was any purposeful misstatement by any member of our staff. Certainly disagree that anyone would raise that to the level of claiming some type of violation based on that mistruth, their perceived mistruth. I think that expresses profound misunderstanding of the planning process. I think it's an unfortunate attempt at character assassination for our hardworking staff. And I'll take whatever lumps I can with that comment letter, but I will not stand to have CDD staff maligned in such way. And that's my comments right now.
Thank you, Supervisor. If there's any further comments, I'm going to open up for public comment on this item. Anyone wish to speak on this item, please come to the microphone.
I didn't hear the beginning, and I want to know who wrote it.
Oh, I apologize. This was sent to me from, let me just tell you exactly what it says. I know it was from Laura. I want to see if it was signed. Laura is the Lucerne Area Revitalization Association, and it is signed by both John Jensen and Elizabeth Larson.
Okay.
Or president
Really
and
appreciate
secretary.
the fact that you're reading it aloud to the people and sharing it with us. I really appreciate it. But I don't really know whether to agree or not agree, but I'm glad that you read it.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, just one point of clarification. Is this the same two individuals that run Lake County News?
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to point that out.
Any further public comment? Okay, I'll bring it back to the board.
Further, Chair, I move to approve the findings and fact and decision and authorize the chair to sign.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Secondly, I move to grant the appeal.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. On that part being in there. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Guintovano, I'd like to redo that last vote. How do I walk that back? Can you help me through those steps? Just the number 2.
Don't believe the item has been closed, correct?
No, not yet.
So your board,
We finished the vote. That's it.
your board may move to rescind the, if it's just item 2,
Yeah.
the granting of the appeal, and then go through that process by vote.
If it's possible to.
Just for the purpose of recording the no vote?
Yes.
Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah, because the first one's the facts and findings. I
Right.
don't disagree, but the actual appeal itself, I want to make sure and register the same vote that I registered at the original, and I made a mistake on that, so I
Oh, that's fine. We'll move to rescind the prior granting of the appeal.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries.
What? No, that was a rescindment.
Yeah, he doesn't want to rescind.
Oh, wait, no. I thought it was the other thing because I did vote no.
It's fine. It passed.
Yes,
Okay.
or whatever, sorry.
Now I will.
Vice Chair Crandall has amended his vote to an aye for the rescinding.
Okay, but now I'm going to move to grant the appeal and allow people to vote on that.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay.
Nay.
Motion carries. Thank you for helping us through that, Mr. Guintovano. All right. Seem to have lost my agenda. I believe we need to reopen our consent agenda. And is it item 5.15? And so let's go ahead, if it's possible, to entertain a motion to reopen our consent agenda, which obviously would not include the 3 that we already separated out.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. If it's possible to get a motion to approve the consent agenda without 5.3, 5.15, 5.19, and 5.21.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 5.15, adopt resolution establishing the Survey Monument Preservation Fund and imposing a user fee of $5 per recorded deed. And while this is coming from Public Works, I'm going to hand it over to
That's fine. Stephen Carter, Assistant
Carter.
County Administrative Officer. I did have a conversation with the Public Works Director, Scott De Leon, about a request to make a couple changes within the resolution. And since they completely deal with the Treasurer Tax Collector's Office, I'll let Patrick go on from here.
Yes, thank you for bringing this to my attention. There were a few different points we had regarding this resolution and a few proposed changes that we'd like to bring to your board's attention. Number 1, on this first page, under Section 1, it says the County Treasurer Tax Collector is directed to establish a Survey Monument Preservation Fund. We'd like to propose changing that from Treasurer Tax Collector to Auditor Controller. It's actually the Auditor Controller's Office that retains that authority to create the fund. And I have spoken with the Auditor's Office about that, and they're aware of this proposed change. The second point that we would like to propose a change to is in number 2. When you see the second line from the bottom, that begins the County Assessor Recorder is directed to forward said fees. Right now it says monthly. We want to change that to strike monthly and change in accordance with county policy to the County Treasurer Tax Collector for deposit to the Survey Monument Preservation Fund. The code section that talks about monthly payments, that's a much older one. Since then, a lot of other statutes have changed and county policy has been updated. Typically, departments deposit weekly or daily. Daily is the preferred method. And the Assessor Recorder's Office is here just if further information is needed. We did run this by them. They currently deposit daily. So by changing it to policy, that would be more in line with the operations we already do. And it's in line with best practices. So those are the 2 requests that I have if your board would consider making those changes.
In Vance from Public Works is supposed to be online if you have any questions from Public Works.
Okay, I do see Mr. Ricks has his hand up, if we can bring him in.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. We met down there, and I totally agree with the 2 proposed changes to the resolution.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ricks. CAO Parker.
Thank you, Chair. I also want to inform the board that Director De Leon was contacted before these edits and amendments were put together for the board's consideration.
So it will not be a surprise to him on
It will
any
not
of
be
these
a surprise.
changes. Okay, I do appreciate that. And actually, while Mr. Ford is here, I do have a quick question. There's a specific criteria of deeds that will trigger this $5 fee. And I'm just kind of curious, what are the mechanisms in place to ensure that we catch all the deeds that are required to have this $5 fee versus to separate what is within the criteria and what is not?
Sure. So basically what's going to happen is I just found out about this actually yesterday morning. We will take this law into account. We will go to best practice for other counties, and then we'll train our staff, which are document examiners. They will examine the documents for whatever criteria is called out in this rule and law, and they will be separated. It will not be every single deed as called out in the rule. It will be basically the ones that are deficient called out in the law, and those is what will be charged the $5. That $5 then will go into basically the fund that will then support for the future all those deeds having that legal description. And so that's kind of what the theory is behind this whole law. And so we will have to do some training. Like I said, I just heard about it yesterday morning, but we will be going to best practice across the state because this is not super uncommon across the state.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Any further comments, questions? Supervisor Green?
Just a question on the maximum allowed is 10, this proposes 5. I'm just wondering who came up with the number and why we wouldn't go for the full 10.
I believe Mr. Ricks can respond to that.
Correct.
Hi, Supervisor Green. Yes, the government code allows us to go to $10 per deed, but we don't want to put an unburdened fee onto the public, especially with the SB2 fee that the state implemented 8 years ago, which was the $75, Affordable Housing Job Act fee. So we felt $5 was a sufficient amount to collect for the Monument Preservation Fund.
I appreciate the willingness to do that. I just can't I can't turn on a light switch in the county without spending $10. So concerns for the public noted, but my concern is that we, short of a nexus study or something like that, that we capture all available revenues so that we, the county, are made whole in whatever we're doing to forward this fund. And also, if we're collecting money to do good things down the road with the preservation fund, we have to adequately fund it. And I think shorting ourselves out the gate is not necessarily the best way to do that, but I'll see what the rest of the board members think.
And I'm wondering if Mr. Ricks can maybe provide a little bit more information on the number of years it will take to collect the funding that you're anticipating to collect, because I think that has a play on what that fee looks like.
Yes, the fee is going to be fully funded when the Monument Preservation Fund hits $50,000. And in my review of deeds that were recorded that were subject to this, I estimate in 3 to 4 years the fund will be ready to be used, which is probably going to coincide with the Soda Bay expansion projects and other projects along the line, which are still in the queue. So we feel that, the $5 is a good start, and, in future we can raise the amount, but in our opinion, we think the $5 is going to be sufficient in order to start funding this Monument Preservation Fund. And this is also a new fund too, so we're going to be capturing monument preservation, which this county has not had in the past. So this will be a whole new project, which is going to be a whole new fund, and that's how we plan on doing it on that end, as opposed to doing an unburdened. I know everything is costing more and more, and we feel that in this department, we feel that the $5 would be sufficient, and it would continue to fund it in the appropriate time frame.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ricks. I appreciate the conversation we had yesterday evening regarding this topic. I know that I have concerns about any increases on fees, but appreciate the knowledge and information that you provided to better understand. And I have two hands. I'm going to start with Mr. Carter and then Mr. Ford.
So my comment's pretty brief. Since you were going there related to the fees and how it was created, this would be part of the master fee during the next cycle. So this created the fee. It'll be brought into the next master fee, and then it should follow the same timeline of looking at whether or not the fee is sufficient annually at the minimum.
Thank you for that. Mr. Ford?
Since we mentioned a few other fees, I just thought I'd clarify. In the recorder's office, there's really only one fee that funds the office, which is the recording fee. That's $14, even though there's the SB2 fee and there's now the monument fee. We have a tendency to have a lot of fees run through the office, but the actual fees that actually fund the office are just the recording fees, which is $14. So it can get a little convoluted when we're talking about fees, especially coming through my office. I just want to make sure that was clear.
It's more of an enterprise fee where it goes specifically to the monument in the future when we start installing those. So appreciate the clarification.
And our fees, basically our office is fee for service. That's kind of basically how it's set up. So it's good to keep in mind that that's where the fee is.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Any further comments? All right, let's open it up for public comment. Anybody wish to speak on this item? I see no hands in Zoom and no movement in the chamber, so I'll bring it back to the board for action. With the amendments as provided by Mr. Carter, or Mr. Sullivan.
Yes.
You both worked on it.
Offer the resolution as amended.
Supervisor Simon?
Yes.
Supervisor Crandall?
Yes.
Supervisor Green?
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska?
Yes.
And Supervisor Sabatier?
Aye.
Thank you, board.
Thank you very much. All right. I believe that concludes everything except for our weekly calendars, so let's go ahead and start our weekly calendars. Supervisor Green?
Well, looks like a pretty light calendar. I think next Monday, that'll be on the 17th. I'll probably peek into COC this week just because I have some bandwidth to do that. Saturday, I'll be at the fairgrounds at the first Lake Fest. That's a pretty exciting event. And looking forward to see a lot of our permitted cannabis operators out there. And Monday, I'll be meeting with CAO Parker. That's about it.
All right. Supervisor Simon?
Meeting obviously finishing up today and then tomorrow. Sounds like I will try and stop by the 40th anniversary for the Calpine event. Don't have anything on at this point for Thursday. Friday, I have a meeting in the morning with CAO Parker. And then obviously graduation is going on all throughout the county this week. So I will be doing a land acknowledgement at the Middletown High School. And other than that, on Friday the 7th, and then back here on Tuesday for the meeting.
Thank you. Supervisor Pyska?
Tomorrow, I have a planning meeting for a town hall happening later in the month. I will be at the Calpine Anniversary Barbecue, and then I've got another media event planning for another event, and then I have a 6th grade graduation. Thursday, we have the Geothermal Advisory Committee. I have meetings with constituents in the afternoons, and then I will be at Kelseyville High School presenting the proclamation and certificates to K-Corps. Friday, I've got some end of school things happening. And then Monday, my meeting with CAO Parker, and then zone and benefit meeting, and then back on Tuesday.
Thank you. Vice Chair Crandall?
So I'll first report out that last week, Thursday, I went and attended at the Sika winery, or Sika olive refinery that the Yocha tribe obtains. So there was an event to sign the Moloch-Loyak expansion into the Berryessa Snow Mountain Monument, where it commenced. Senator Padilla, Congressman Thompson, Congressman Garamendi wasn't in attendance, but I think some staff was, Cecilia Aguirre-Curry, the Yocha Dehe Tribal Council Chairman Roberts, and the Quetzal Dehe Tribal Council Chairman Wright, Wade Crowfoot, BLM staff, Amy Dutchke, Bureau of Indian Affairs, Christina Schneider, Tribal Liaison for Governor's Office, the Yolo County Supervisors and NGOs, and myself were in attendance, and it went really well. It wasn't too hot, and they conducted the signing. I think it is posted on the Senator's website, and so yeah, it was a good event, and I was glad to be there on behalf of the county. And so I attended that. And then I'll move on to tomorrow. I have the East Region Town Hall and then the CSA2 over in Clear Lake Oaks in Spring Valley. So you mentioned some school stuff. My son is graduating Friday from Upper Lake as well, so there's graduations. It's graduation time frame. So, but in that I will be. I have some constituent meetings in the morning and some calls I have to make and follow up on. Friday definitely will be dealing with the graduation and attending the graduation. Monday I will have the Central Region Town Hall meeting, and then back here Tuesday.
Thank you for that, and thank you for going to that down Highway 16 for that celebration of the expansion of the National Monument. I know I received that invitation, wasn't able to make it, so really happy that you were there.
Well, and I want to apologize for missing the, I think it was a water meeting that we had, and then the LCRA. My dog got sick, so I was dealing with that day. So
we cover for one another. On my schedule is on tomorrow, I will be meeting with the NACO Health Committee that I am on for NACO. Looking forward to that discussion. I'm meeting with the City of Clear Lake to finalize some financial MOUs between the City of Clear Lake. They do, as I described in our last PEG annual presentation, that they do in-kind contributions. We don't have an MOU, and we need to settle on an MOU on what that contribution actually looks like so that we can have set expectations of the relationship we have with that. Then I'm going to try, if that's okay with Vice Chair Crandall, to be at the East Region Town Hall to support Thomas with PEG over there. Just want to make sure that there's still some.
Yeah, there is.
We are actually working on the, what's it called? The Starlink mobile system. It's actually very affordable, and it seems to work. We got some folks from Middletown, Cobb, and even one of our PEG board members who have provided us with some information that it works really well in some of those areas that are very difficult for Mediacom or AT&T or others to really provide that broadband. So we're hoping to have a backup system that can really help out in that situation. Then on Thursday, I am having lunch with the finance director from the City of Clear Lake. I am meeting with NCO. I am meeting with, I have the COC Continuum of Care General Board meeting, and there'll be a City of Clear Lake City Council meeting later on that day. My daughter's graduating that day also or promoting from middle school to high school. On Friday, I am having a meeting with Adventist Health for the CHNA, having a meeting also with one of our department heads, and my son will be graduating high school, similar to Vice Chair Crandall, later on that evening. I know there's something on the 8th that I'm missing at this moment, but it's not on my calendar, so I'll have to look it up. But I will be joining on Monday. Looks like the Lake EDC Board of Directors meeting will have a SEDS review, and I'm very interested in the updated SEDS, and so I'll chime in and listen in. Meeting with our CAO, and then trying to get to our Pathways Hub advisory group from the COC that day as well. And if I'm able, I'll also make time to go to the Central Region Town Hall in support of PEG TV. Being out there for the technology, and then back here for our board meeting. I will express one thing that I did do this week. I know that we all either saw or got a lot of expressions on some NASA satellite imagery that did kind of spread like wildfire through the media. I did find that everywhere between Miami and LA, people grabbed onto that NASA article and highlighted Clear Lake. For unfortunately, the thing that we love so much is that it's a very natural lake, and it's we live in a very natural environment. And right now, the algae is blooming, but it is not the cyanobacteria levels that we see typically in the July or August. It is still very much a different situation. So what I did is I contacted our Congressman Thompson, and asked to connect with NASA since they seem to be paying attention to Clear Lake. What is it that we can do to partner with NASA's Earth Sciences to bring some of those resources or some of those see what solutions they might be able to bring to the table. And they actually did reconnect with me, and NASA is looking to put a team together and meet with me and Water Resources, and we'll see what happens, and we'll bring anything back that might be an opportunity for us back to the board. I think it's unfortunate to see the reaction to it. We love where we live, and it's not fun to see some negative feedback. But I think that this is an opportunity to connect with a larger entity that might be able to provide us some gains. So I just wanted to express that to the board. And with that, we will be going into closed session. And 8.1, Public Employee Evaluation, Chief Public Defender. 8.2, Public Employee Appointment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B1, Interviews for Water Resources Director, Appointment of Water Resources Director. 8.3, Public Employee Discipline, Dismissal, Release. And before, just one quick addition to what I was just saying, I do appreciate Water Resources and their response to the NASA imagery. I thought that they did a really good job in providing some good detailed information of what is happening with our lake. So thank you so much for knowing so much and having such a passion for our lake. And with that, we will adjourn to closed session. Did I miss something? Oh.
Can we knock it out?
I was hoping we would knock it out. Are you guys wanting lunch or wanting to knock it out?
No, I need to notify Ray.
Thank you very much for tolerating me.
Thank you very much for being here.
That's fine.
We'll figure it out. We can move around 1, 2, or 3 in any way to make it as easy as possible. Yes.